he is 100% worth it.
He takes it to another level. Oh my God, I just fell in love with it.
Thanks so much, Jay.
Blew my mind. And it worked. I wanted to buy my thing.
Jay is, I would say, the Yoda of sales calls, man.
Just talking to Jay, he was so good at just taking what it is, seeing the opportunity and the value and the real reason we are making it.
Talk to Jay, because he got it. He can definitely help you out.
Talk to Jay. You're going to get a lot. You're going to gain a lot.
I would absolutely recommend him for any position that you have.
Jay's definitely the guy.
Give him the chance, give him the opportunity. You won't regret it.
He's good at what he does, so I highly recommend him, and I would book him before he is fully booked out.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Sales Ninja Show podcast, where we cut through the noise, ditch the outdated sales tactics, and show you how to close deals with confidence, strategy, and integrity. I'm Jay Lee, founder of Sales Ninja, and if you're tired of chasing leads, handling endless objections, and feeling like you have to convince people to buy, you're in the right place. Here, we do sales differently. We believe in positioning over pressure, where the right people lean in without the need for pushy tactics. And that's the heart of the reverse glass selling method, a kingdom-driven approach built on trust, service, and true connection. Because when you lead with value, sales becomes effortless. And when you sell more, you can give more. Today's guest is someone who has built an 8-figure business by mastering the art of science of content, turning strategy into growth and attention into revenue. She has helped businesses scale, go viral, and reach audiences they never thought possible. She's also someone who rebuilt her life from the ground up, moving from welfare lines to bestseller lists through grit, discipline, and a deep understanding of what actually works. Outside of business, she reads at a level most people wouldn't believe, creates entire fantasy worlds, and somehow still finds time to make homemade sauces from scratch. Please welcome the amazing Rachel Pedersen. Welcome.
I'm so excited to be here. How long has this been in the works? Years.
3 years. It took
3 years. And I just want to shout you out real fast, because even before this, for people who are listening now, in case you're like, there's no way he's really the real deal. Before we hopped on, I got a solid 5 minutes of Jay pouring back into me. And that is so, it's a breath of fresh air. It's rare. Like, you really and truly live the ideals that you shared in that intro. Gorgeous. I'm a fan already. Huge fan. Jay.
Thank you so much. I'm already a huge fan for 10 years. So, And speaking of which, I downloaded your Audible book, Unfiltered, right away and read the entire thing so quickly and was floored by your story and the lessons that you learned through hardship. And so I want to dive right in, because I know we only have a brief and amazing moment. And because we had some technical glitches, I would love for the opportunity for a part 2, because we don't have enough time to talk about some of the details that I want to talk about.
Yes. You know what? I'm game. Sign me up. This is an easy yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So let's go to the personal journey. You've gone from welfare lines to building an 8-figure business. Okay. What were some of the moments that forced you to think differently about your future? And how did you get from where you were, from poverty to profit?
Ooh, there were 3 major turning points where basically I was like, I have to rethink things. One was when I found myself on welfare, on food stamps, as a single mom at 21 years old, no college education, no viable skill sets besides service work, and looking at my daughter, realizing I'm having to give blood plasma just to pay for diapers. Something needs to change. And it took a little while before I found what my thing was going to be. But by 24, I was building my business. So within 3 years, I was able to get to a place where I could start building something. So it happened really, really fast. Second big point was, it was the rock bottom moment for me of 2022, coming back. For those who don't know, I had bipolar type 1 and wasn't diagnosed, which meant that I naturally went into cycles that were harmful, of not sleeping and then having way too much energy. So that's called like depression and mania, but I would sleep too much and then not sleep. And it was just all messed up. And so when I made the decision to rebuild after that, which was hard and long and painful, but totally worth it. I just want to say, on the flip side of it, totally worth it. It didn't feel like it every day on the process, in the process, but that was a decision point where I had to say, we have to do something different. Like, we're going to have to probably serve a lot more, and we may not see the results for a while, and that's okay. Reputation shot, business revenue shot, clients over me. Like, that was a really humbling time, and I feel like that was the big pivot that actually safeguarded me from going down paths that a lot of people who achieve success just naturally go down with echo chambers. So that humbled me, and that was the second part that really did things. And then 1 year ago, I made a new commitment to my business, and I committed. Are you ready for it? I committed to 10 more years in this industry. I hadn't decided if I was going to continue in the industry. And 1 year ago, I was like, you know what? I'm all in. Let's do this another decade. And in 10 more years, I'll decide again. But that was a huge turning point where I was like, I'm not going to be okay with just the bare minimum. I want my life and my business to show the fruit of that decision in that moment.
I love how you kind of set chapters in your life to give yourself an all-in commitment. And that's a perfect segue to books. Your book, Unfiltered, bestseller list. You read over 1,500 books in a decade. How has that shaped you in the way you think and make decisions?
Oh man. Okay, so I'll share this. Back when I first started my business, I got really bold one day, and I decided to reach out to the president of the Forbes 30 under 30 list on LinkedIn. Well, he answered. He was like, let's hop on a call. And he mentored me for the first few months of me building my business. And he said,
what?
Yes. Isn't this wild? He was like, he basically said something like, fortune favors the bold. And he really gave me his personal cell. We hopped on many calls. And one of the pieces of advice, there were two pieces. One was, do not chase the lists or the awards. Do not chase getting 30 under 30. That's where your life goes sideways. Instead, chase becoming excellent, chase serving people, chase this. And that was exactly what I needed to hear at that point. And he said, second advice is, if you read one book a week, you in 1 year will have read more books start to finish than most people do in their entire adult life. He said that's how you shortcut decades of wisdom, experience, understanding the nuance of things. And so I took that really seriously, and I took it a little further. I got to a place where I was reading one book a morning, and I would just sit down, read the whole book, either early morning or late night, and I would just plow through it. So I was reading between 5 and 8 books a week. Now, keep in mind, I do read really fast, but that advice was actually a game changer. And for anyone who's listening, watching now, like, straight up, I'm going to tell you, he was right. Because we all think, oh, I don't have enough time to read. And truth be told, if you just replace, like, Netflix binging at night or whatever, just catching up on a reality show with reading, you walk away stronger. And then when you sleep, your brain starts to connect the dots from one strategy or concept to another.
My gosh, did you learn how to read fast from a program, or just your brain thinks faster? How the heck do you read so fast?
I've always been a fast reader. There's two things I do super fast to an extent that it kind of freaks people out. Number one, I type extremely fast. People get freaked out when they see it. Like, if I just go in the zone, I just go, and sometimes you hear it, on my keyboard, it's like, and that's how I type. And the second thing I do super fast, besides getting married quickly, if you know the backstory, besides getting married quickly, is reading books. When I was young, my Nana and Papa would take me to the library. I'd get 26 books because it was all we could fit in the tote bag. Then they'd pick me up the following week and be like, all right, time for our fresh haul. I could not read enough.
Okay. My 12-year-old daughter is the same. She gets like 26 books, and then she's done within the first couple days. So we have to go a couple times a week. And the problem is we can't get her off the books, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? She's learning. And her, like, we play Boggle on Netflix, the games and stuff like that, and these other games. Yep. And she schools everyone, like anyone and everyone that comes, because her vocabulary and her speed is so high. Boom, 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 boom.
it's amazing, and like foster that, like lean into it. It's incredible. I got teased a lot for reading, but reading was like my solitude and my place where I could just fully focus there, and it's like it's my happy place. It always has been. Yeah.
Okay, I know we have a short time, but there's a lot of people that are tuning in. We got 6,500 people tuning in right now. We got Maz. We have some people that you may know or I may know. Reese Morgan, amazing story.
Oh, I know Reese. I've seen his name many times.
Who's that in the red shirt? We got Stephanie Kims that says, I love Rachel. She's such an incredible woman. I know Rachel. I mean, I know Stephanie, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of people that want to say hello. I thought this was going to be a vlog because the title, the visuals are clean though. Okay. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, we may or may not be able to do them because we have such a short time, but we will look at episode 2. We'll do that.
Drop a yes if you guys would like for us to do a part 2 as well. You already know we're going to dig into some seriously meaty content. Go ahead.
100%. So, startup challenges and scaling strategies. What did your early content look like before you actually figured out what works? Because, not everything converts in the beginning. And how did you get to the point where you found conversion methodologies or frameworks?
Ooh, okay. My content in the beginning was ugly, ugly, ugly. And I just want to highlight that. At some point, I'm going to share some of my earliest designs. I had 0 design skills. I didn't understand aesthetics. My stuff was, and when I say ugly, I don't mean like, oh, that's not quite matching. I'm talking hideous, horrible Photoshop jobs. Like literally, I Photoshopped myself out of a scene, and I made my legs look bow-legged because it's crazy. I'll post them on my profile this week.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of how it all started. And I think the thing that surprised me the most in the beginning, and still to this day, is that you can get a lot of conversions without aesthetics. And that's a surprising thing. I had big names and luxury brands coming to me at that point, and I was like, why would you want to work with me? This is all so ugly. And they were like, but it works. And I was like, okay. So that was one of the big things. When there's one piece of advice that I learned early, it's from a copywriter. I think it's Robert Collier. And he said something along the lines of, you want to enter the conversation already happening in people's heads. That really helped me, because sometimes we're trying to like invent what we think the conversation is. Like, imagine this happens. And those are all good bridges into like storylines or conversations. But it was actually when I was in the first days of my business, 2015, I crafted my first viral post. I didn't have massive budget for ads or a massive following. I was basically unheard of and a nobody. And I love that one person said, who's Rachel Pedersen? Never heard of her before. Awesome. There's always more people to reach. Hi, I'm Rachel. So, and that's why I always show up. There's always more people to reach. Yeah. So it was when I wrote that, I decided to write from like a thought stream process. The idea of you have to have a big ring to prove that you're in love. And I was like, what if I just jumped into my own conversation in my head and brought people into that and see if people feel the same way about their rings, whether they're big or small, or they couldn't afford a ring to get married. I posted it. Literally, it reached 11.3 million people organically. Yes. It was shared by George Takei, Ashton Kutcher, 30 different.
Ashton Kutcher.
Ashton Kutcher. He was my high school crush. And then he shared it on his Facebook page. And I was like, what? So I literally was featured in 30 different online publications, all from that one viral post. But it wasn't my last viral post, and it also wasn't even close to my most viral post. It was my first one. Yeah. And then Sealy sent me a free mattress.
What?
So, yeah.
You're a brand ambassador for Sealy?
I'm not. They just sent me a free mattress to like, we loved your story. Enjoy this. We hope you sleep well. And I was like,
that's so funny.
So if you can enter the conversation people are already having, meaning what are they thinking about? What are they stressing about on their drive to work? Or as they're getting their kids ready in the morning, while also thinking about the day that is ahead of them. That's the kind of stuff I think about. And that's where we've seen conversions actually happening.
Okay. What are some of the biggest mistakes you see entrepreneurs making when they try to scale with content?
Ooh, when trying to scale with content, one of the biggest mistakes I see is people try to optimize while also scaling. And truth be told, with content, it goes a little bit differently. So first and foremost, you need to scale something. You need to do more or better or new. There's something you have to focus on, but you have to do it almost like really, really consistently and intentionally with new, more, or better of the same. And then you can go into optimization mode. So with every single thing, if you look at those three things, first and foremost, do I need something new? Is my old stuff not working? Two, do I need something better? Meaning I've gotten, and this is I'll speak for myself. Have I gotten a little lazy with my content? I know when I've gotten lazy, it shows. And then it's a sign, okay, let's put a little more energy, intention, and just polishing work into content. And then, of course, more is just a ton more of the same. Those are the three things that when it comes to those, you don't necessarily want to go into full optimization mode till you've tested one or multiple of those three for content.
Okay, that's super helpful.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard different people giving different content advice. You being a queen of marketing, what would you recommend in terms of the number of posts? I know quality and quantity, depending on who you're talking to, matters. What's your tips on content that converts in terms of quality and quantity?
Ooh, okay. You can do one or the other or both. They both work. They work individually. They also work in conjunction. I'm a huge fan of starting with more because better is such a subjective thing.
Right.
And you know this, like, is this post good enough? Is this juicy enough? Is this video fascinating enough? You know, that's really subjective and it's tough. It's kind of like good marketing when you see it, and it's hard to put your finger on exactly what makes it good marketing or what makes a post not quite great. So what I recommend is leaning into expansion of frequency, like get more content out there, try new styles, like do different things. That is straight up going to be hands down your best place to start with content.
Okay. And do you have a number? Because I heard someone say like once a day, once a week. I heard someone say 10 times a day.
Okay, this is a tough one. How much string is enough? When is the string long enough? Well, it depends for what. And I hate to answer with it depends. What I'll share is we currently fluctuate between 50 and 150 pieces of content per day.
What?
Yeah, that's how much we do right now. I do not recommend that for almost anybody unless you have a massive team or content is your second language. So it's tough because I know that but to be fair, we're reaching tens of millions of people per month. Like we're shooting right now to get 100 million reached per month, 100% organically. So we're in a sprint season. For most people, what I recommend is never miss a day. Just at least one piece of content per day. Start with that baseline first and foremost. And then over time, you can be like, okay, now I'm going to see what happens when I just double my content. Do I get double results or does it actually have an exponential factor? Hint, it almost always has an exponential factor. So that's how I approach it. Just make sure you don't miss a day and then you can gradually increase it. Do not burn yourself out on content though.
Okay, I love that. Don't miss a day, but be consistent. Try one piece of content, double it, see what happens. It usually and will historically, statistically show results. When you are creating this content, people can create content that doesn't convert. What do you do to make it convert?
This is what gets everyone. And it took me a long time to figure out what is the single thing that changes content that converts. And are you ready for it?
Yeah.
The majority of my content has no CTA, no call to action, no conversion points.
What?
This is kind of wild. I'll check the stats later. On part 2, I'll have those stats for you.
Yeah.
I think 90% of my content right now does not have a CTA at all on it.
Wow.
There's no like check the link in my bio or anything like that. Now, 10% of my content is straight up very much so CTA content. But I separate those two intentionally because I don't know about you guys. Feel free to say yes in the chat if y'all agree with me on this, or yes in your head if you're listening on the podcast. You know when someone like gives you a give and you're like, okay, cool. And they deliver a ton of value. And then right away there's a pitch. It doesn't matter who you are. There's always that slight moment of hesitation where you wonder, was the purpose of the value they shared with me to get me to convert? And so what we did was we separated those two. So I let my asks be my asks. I let my CTAs be my CTAs. I also do this for clients, by the way, and we're getting phenomenal results for lead gen as well as revenue and ROI. And when I separated the two, recognizing let's let our value, our variety, our vulnerability, and even our intentional viral pieces just be that, and then CTAs be CTAs, then it's easier to scale either side of that equation.
Amazing. There's a bunch of people commenting. Scaling a business is tough right now. Actually, I sent you a private message if you can check it. Let's see. I need to up my content game from my views because they suck. Same bro. I don't know how to get more reach. We're going to give you some resources that Rachel's going to provide to help you get that reach. I think on Instagram with a resource. It's all about hooks and audience retention, in my opinion. Ruxana says, which books do you suggest for beginner copywriters? Do you have any of those?
I have one favorite. This one will shortcut a lot of your process.
Okay.
Hands down, my favorite book is Great Leads. I agree with the person who said it's all about hooks and retention. That is a lot of the truth. It's about how you stop people from scrolling and then ultimately get them to stay. How do you get them to stop? How do you get them to stay? And then on some pieces, then how do you get them to take action on those CTA pieces?
Okay, so Great Leads is the book that you recommend?
Great Leads by Michael Masterson. It's like $12 on Kindle, but it sells out a lot, so it can be a few hundred for a paperback copy.
Okay, now there's a weird question. How do you remember the price?
Oh, I remember.
Because I can tell that you. I mean, understanding the title and maybe the author is I'll give you that. But the prices, that's a little bit interesting.
It's a little weird. Okay, I know this one in particular. I do have a really good memory for anything related to books, almost a little bit freaky photographic in some areas.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes, in some areas. But when it comes to that one in particular, so I started marketing Great Leads heavily when no one else was talking about it, and the book kept selling out of prints. And then the copies that were available on Amazon were like $200 because they were out of prints. And so like we had to reach out to the publisher, be like, can you please make sure that there's another like batch coming because we're doing marketing here. I don't even know if they saw it or read it, but I was like, I'm going to promote this book and I can't be promoting it if it's, $200. But sometimes it does run out because those videos go viral and reach millions anytime I talk about Great Leads, and then the book completely sells out and the price goes up and then people complain and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Funny.
Yeah.
More comments. Some people still don't know who you are, and that's fine. Some people say you're legit 8-figure business. That's wild. How she built an 8-figure business though with just content strategy.
Question. Yep.
Most people do miss it because they post whatever is not strategic.
Yep. Should we dive into one of the strategies?
Yeah, please.
For it? Okay, so this is one of my simplest strategies that can serve any business. Okay, any business. This is not something that supports influencers who do not have a business attached to their accounts. Huge distinction. So basically, there are 4 categories that all of your content, except for your action taking, your CTAs, your calls to action, the ones that generate leads and sales. The rest fall into 4 categories. Those 4 categories are value. For most brands, this should be where you spend probably between 50 and 90% of your time. It's where you make the biggest impact in the world. You build in reciprocity. Oftentimes there's social proof involved, but you establish yourself as an authority when you show up with certainty delivering value. The second V is going to be vulnerable. And you get to decide ultimately how vulnerable you want to be. Like, do you want to share it all? Do you want to share pieces? Do you want to share things you've already resolved and figured out? I personally live fairly vulnerably in most areas of my life online, and it gets noticed. So I personally choose to share the tough things with a lesson. And I never pretend I'm perfect or have it all figured out. I'm very clear, quite the opposite instead. Third thing that you need is the third V, which is a little bit of variety. Have you ever gone on someone's social media? Feel free to chime in the chat. You go on their social and it's like every single video you feel like is exactly the same. And you're like, Is there something outside of business? Are you a real person? Hello, say hi to me. That's where variety comes in. Variety is beautiful because it's how you build in reciprocity. So there are certain things that we all have in common. Feel free to drop this, feel free to highlight this, look this up, write this down. KLT, know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust is built from, ready for it? Familiarity. Familiarity is built by commonality. Don't worry, I'll explain all of it. Sounds like I'm saying a lot of like little fluffy quotes. Basically, what I mean by all of this is if you want to really truly and deeply connect with people, you need to share some intentional pieces of your life that are true, where people can find common ground. Like, oh, wow, she's married to an immigrant. How about, oh, wow, her dad was a pastor. I resonate with that. Like even today when you were like, you know, I was a missionary for years. I was like, oh my gosh, my husband's parents were missionaries. My dad was a pastor. Instantly, there's an understanding of some things that other people just don't understand. That's why variety is important. Final V, viral. And viral, you get to choose if you want to use it or not in your brand. This is doing the little one-off pieces that are just funny or unhinged. I love these. I do them. I do get in trouble with them a lot. Sometimes I got to be a little less sassy in the mornings, that's for sure. But you can use trending sounds or trending topics or breaking news to bring things that are timely, but not necessarily as evergreen.
Interesting. We have some fans saying, Brittany Greer says, been following for you for years. Love all that you do. Stephanie also says, if you don't know Rachel, you are not at that level. Keep working. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
One says, Rachel Pedersen is going to spill all the tea.
Yep.
And what actually makes content go viral? Maybe that's a good question.
I love this. I want to highlight something here. So I can make absolutely any business or person go viral. I will state that right here, right now. Now, notice what I did not say. I did not say it would be healthy for the brand long term. Most people, here's a case in point. If you haven't heard of Lady Boss, Kaylin and Brandon Tulin, they built a $100 million weight loss and supplement company. They came to me. They're like, we can't crack TikTok. Can you do it? I said, I can do it in 10 topics or less. I will write your hooks. You use them verbatim. Kaylin acts them out. I think it was by either hook 2 or hook 3. They reached 1 million views on one of those hooks. Now, the reason I share this is because trying to go viral is how I see most brands actually get in a lot of trouble. Viral is not the goal you want to have. You can set it up for virality, but the second you start optimizing for virality, you shift your perspective from being a business brand to being more of like a content creator influencer model. That being said, how do you go viral? You do things like insane controversy. That's the easiest one, hands down. For example, I was saying, like, if I wanted to make an acting coach go viral, I would do a video called "All Actors Are Narcissists." Boom, you're instantly viral. You catch my gist right here. But instead, the goal is to see how far can we take this without pushing the bounds.
Wow.
But it does require taking a stance. Go ahead, Jay.
There's other more. This is great. I love this. Rukshana is saying, do you suggest as a beginner we should post regarding who we help? Like I help coaches, course sellers, and brands. So all my posts should be related to the problem they are facing, or should I post about my struggles, how I learned the best hooks? Which one is better?
Ooh, okay. So number one, posts regarding who you help don't usually do super well. It's kind of like a post about like, here's my new logo. People are excited like friends or family. Truth be told, those just don't go as far as you hope they would. They might work once. There's a little celebration. Instead, what you want to do, I would read Great Leads by Michael Masterson. That book is absolutely fantastic. And I think I specifically suggested that one for you, so you're going to love it based on your past question. The one thing I will share is that when it comes to your content, you actually don't want to focus on your struggles. You want to get inside the head of what are the struggles of the people that I'm working with. I call this concept, why is my person crying? Why is my person crying? Why does an 8-figure or even a 7-figure or even just someone who is successful, why do they cry? I'll give you a hint. It's usually the same reasons as the rest of us. So instead, what you do is you recognize that the people you want to serve are also struggling, and you offer a lifeline of hope. Why are they struggling? My content's not reaching people, Rachel. Okay, here's how to force your content to reach more people. That right there would be a fantastic piece of content. So you basically identify a pain point, and then you create a solution and serving based title or hook for it, and assume that people are needing that and deliver it open palm.
Wow. Okay. Let's take in real life, we'll do a real life masterclass in this questioning the queen of mass marketing. So I have the Sales Ninja. That's, I help grow businesses. I help scale companies. Yes. What would be a good copy, post, whatever you call it, that identifies pain for, let's say, multi 6, 7, 8 figure companies that you said that makes them cry? And what would be the, you call it a service or service-based solution?
Yep. Okay, so if we know, I do know this pain point pretty well. Myself, my clients, all of the above, they have all faced it many times over. Sales problems don't go away. One might be, why has my conversion rate tanked recently? That's one that's going to come up a lot. Why are my sales going down? There's a leak in my sales process and I can't find it. That would be another. That one. If they say there's a leak in my sales process, I'm losing sales, instead of calling that out directly, I'm going to craft a hook that offers a lifeline of support without them having to admit that they're struggling. Here's how to identify any leak in any sales process in 5 minutes or less. Here is the silent killer of your conversions. These things sound really hypey. You can add your own words and your own vocabulary to it, but we already know every single 7, 8, 9 figure business is struggling with leaks in conversions at some point in some area in their funnel. So if you create the lifeline, you're good to go.
Amazing. Maz says, I hope we could become like you in the future. And Henry says, I need this right now in my content. It's flopping hard. Thank you for sharing that, Henry. Who is Rachel Pedersen again? So
I'll answer this one because that's so funny. Basically, I'm just a Minnesota mom with 3 kids. I am a big introvert, a big goof. I'm just a fun person. I've been in the game of social media for 12 years. I've done some really cool things, worked with really cool clients, many brands and businesses that you probably know. Most are under NDA and some that aren't, such as Dean Graciosi. I got to train in Tony Robbins' social media team as well as ClickFunnels. But
for real? That's awesome.
This isn't about me though. This is about me serving you, Jay serving you. That's what we're here to do today.
Oh, that's so cool. I love those little mentions though, because it's like, I mean, we know you're great, but not everyone else knows that. Someone's defending you, so thank you. She's a social media expert, bro. Been around for a minute. And then Roxana says, thank you for answering her questions.
Yep.
This is going hard. I'm ready for the knowledge drop. And then Stephanie says, Minnesota, me too. Something in the water. Okay, I didn't know Stephanie was in there. So that's great. So let's see. We have a couple of minutes remaining. Let's see. How do you keep creativity alive? I mean, you're so good at what you do. But does it become like, is it a framework or is it just a mindset? Like, because you're a creative storyteller and you understand what's in people's heads. But is there a point where creativity is stifled and marketing becomes like a, I don't know, chore or bore?
Yes, absolutely. All the time. It can happen any time that I'm not being fed. And this is true for anyone watching or listening. If you're not feeding your brain with new ideas, new understanding, new stories, new ways of expressing creativity, you can find yourself really empty when you sit down and you're at your blank Google Doc and you're like, okay, I have nothing brilliant today. There are a few things that really help me to push through that, because it's not if those ruts come up, it's when they come up, and they can pop up at any time, and work still needs to get done. So number one, I have a rule for myself. I have to create every day. That includes weekends, so that I never lose the habit, because one weekend can quickly become also Monday, also Tuesday. I know myself, and I can very easily default to very lazy habits. So I intentionally create something every single day.
Wow.
But And then the second thing as well, this is really helpful, is my husband and I talk about this. I'll say, I'm feeling a little creatively empty. And he'll say, why don't we put on an episode of something that inspires you? Like, let's put on Haunting of Hill House or Everything Everywhere All at Once or a Coldplay song or listen to that really dark Lana Del Rey song that always makes you cry and write a poem. Like, he comes up with really great suggestions, but I always think, okay, if I'm empty inside creatively and nothing's bubbling up today, I'm going to go elsewhere to remind myself of inspiration and things that have already worked for other people. And usually that knocks a few ideas back into my head.
Amazing. Even before I go into the questions, there's people who are responding because they're so loving this. So Maz says, I'm thinking to start my AI agency. I'm 18 years old, but I don't know where to start from, in which I help other with AI related stuff like prompts and etc. Can you give me a little bit of an idea or I guess advice?
Oh my goodness. It was this one right here. So one thing I'm going to share with you is really and truly prioritize excellence from day one. You'll hear this again and again, but cutting corners when you build an agency will make it a very painful process. And I ignored that advice the first go round, and I would just like be super scrappy and try to rush things on my phone and trying to fit in more than I could. And truth be told, I should have gone a little bit slower. Now, these days, we charge $254,000 for clients minimum per year. That's the entry point to work with me one-on-one. And I make sure as much as humanly possible that we cross every T, dot every I, double, triple check work before it goes out. And we have a 99% accuracy rate across all of the content that we're putting out for clients. Not mine. I have a lot more typos in mine. Trust me. So
fast.
I do so fast. Typos included. Yeah.
Okay, so Dan Olson says, hey Rachel, what social platforms should I be targeting right now? Facebook seems to be dead. LinkedIn seems to be working for me. Any other I should keep an eye on?
Gotta shout this out. Dan Olson was my final manager before I became an entrepreneur, and he is so awesome. And we have, yes, at Summit Information. It was Summit Information. But we sold network hardware. I was the marketing manager. He was the sales manager. Sorry, I was marketing director. He was sales manager. He was my direct upline. Amazing person. Feel free to check him out. He's incredible. And I think he just went out on his own and is doing his own thing too. Dan, you're awesome. So basically, Dan, for you, LinkedIn is hot, hot, hot. I would test out, and this is true for anyone on LinkedIn. Reels are crushing it on LinkedIn, Talking Heads specifically, because it's the only platform many people can watch during the workday. Number 2, this is an interesting one, but YouTube videos. Try for one YouTube video per week and make them very search engine optimized. So how do I fill in the blank? Make that the title of your video. Build up a content library of searchable videos. Third and final thing I'm going to share, keep an eye on Pinterest, because Pinterest is taking off. I have several clients reaching millions of people per month for free and getting tons of free traffic on Pinterest. And we create no original content on Pinterest. We integrated our Instagram, so all our Instagram posts automatically go to Pinterest, and it's a bonus platform that is naturally driving a lot of traffic.
Now, last question is, are you using an AI stack to help you write and publish and spread, like distribute content?
Way less than most people would assume. I'm not all in on all facets of AI. I love AI as a tool. I love it for supporting things like wireframing or multiplying frameworks for content. I love it for creating different possibilities. So I could see what 3 different possibilities look like. But most of the content, the content we put out for clients and myself, way more of it is human than AI at all. So every single piece is touched by humans, edited heavily, and made to not still have that same AI feeling towards it. But I will say, AI is a tool. Use it to your comfort level. It is a part of the future. Whether myself, you, no matter how we feel about it, it is moving into our overall infrastructure as a society.
Gotcha. So just to respect your time, we'll have to do a part 2. Everyone, thank you guys for tuning in. to the Sales Ninja Show podcast. No, go apply what you've learned from Rachel Pedersen for your next sales conversation and your content strategy. Practice leading with clarity, calm, and service. If you're ready to master faith-driven sales psychology and close high-ticket deals with integrity, head over to gosalesninja.com and you can book a free audit call. We're here to help you sell with confidence and serve from a place of purpose. And you've heard Rachel's story, and she does that so well. Remember, your work is stewardship. Keep your eyes on God. Stay faithful in the small things. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Rachel, took 3 years, but we got you on looking for episode number 2 so we can help sell more to give more. God bless.
Beautiful.
Take care.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you.
Cool.
I know you got to